Thank you. And we have a quorum this evening. The next item of business would be the approval of the agenda.
Your Honor, I would like to make, before it's approved, I would like to make some amendments. Do we have to approve it first in order to make the amendment? Okay. So I have two additions that I would like to make. The first is in Section 4, letter B, to add 2016 Ferndale Pride proceeds sharing with nonprofits presentation. And I would like to add a new number 11, or move 11 down to 12. Request to amend the agenda to come back into open session to consider recommendations for updating the city manager's employment agreement.
All right.
And I would like to remove consent agenda item 7D.
Just remove it.
Yes, so we're going to table it until it comes back.
All right. Other changes to the agenda? A motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
I support.
Moved by Polika and supported by Piana. All right. Any discussion on the agenda this evening? All right. Marnie, would you call the roll?
Councilmembers Leaks May,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Polika,
Yes.
Piana,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. The agenda is adopted. Moving on now to presentations, which we now have two of. And the first presentation is the University High School Concerned Resident Group. And is there a spokesperson for the group that's going to come up? Yes, sir. Come on up. Give us your name. And we have this on PowerPoint as well, Joe?
Yep.
Excellent. And so, sir, I notice you have a very long presentation. We had scheduled you for 10 minutes. If it takes a little more than that, that's fine, but please know we have a full agenda, so
Okay.
the floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
My name's Kerry Comerford. I live at 357 East Oak Ridge.
Carrie, did you say?
Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
with a K.
Yeah.
So, I'm here about the University High School that started up in our neighborhood this year. And I'd like to just do a brief background on our experience with the school board and how they operate the school in our area. Back in '95, the school board passed a bond issue for $54 million to do work on all the schools throughout the district. And in our neighborhood, they chose to tear down the existing Coolidge High School, or Coolidge Middle School, and erect a brand new middle school. When we were able to speak with the architect and the school board throughout the process of planning, and from firsthand I can tell you the residents were not happy with the location of the school that where they put it. As you can see from the slide, the original building was located on the southeast corner of Drayton and Bermuda. It provided a playground, play structure, and a baseball diamond. Very much enjoyed by the residents in the neighborhood. And the residents wanted the new school put in the same location as the old school was. And the reason was it was away from everybody. We had a great play area in front of our house, and it provided a buffer area. So when the bond issue passed, a new state-of-the-art middle school, and that's what they called it then, was constructed, and it was put on the northwest corner of the property, right in front of all the neighbors. The building was also considerably larger than the old building, and moving the building closer to the residents and increasing the size provided very, very little setback area or buffer from the school. The school building is 35 feet tall, and in the winter, it has a shading effect because it's so close to the lot line on Oak Ridge that our properties on the sidewalk, they don't even thaw unless you salt them. You get a lot of days where you got sun and it'll melt the ice and stuff, even though it's below freezing. But we don't enjoy that. They told us that they were going to consider that in the design, and as you can see, it wasn't. So there's virtually no buffer zone on the north and the west sides. Minimum landscaping as a trade-off for moving the building so close to the street. They offered to install landscaping to soften the effect of all the brick in the height of the building. All they had on the site plan was 6 trees, and if you go by there today, there's only 1 tree left. The rest of them died, and they've never been replaced. And the additional landscaping that they said they would put in never got done. And after numerous calls to the architect and the school board, we were told there was no funding in the project. So they weren't up front with that. Part of the good thing about the plan was that the student drop-off was designed to be conducted as a bus, the cut-through lanes. So there was no traffic on Oak Ridge Street with the exception of the buses. And they would come down Bermuda, turn left onto Oak Ridge, and right in the bus traffic lane. Teacher parking was provided on the Drayton side in the parking lot. And the school board assured the residents there would not be any traffic for drop-off of students. So they kept their promises on that until the University High School came into existence in our neighborhood. They had 2 open houses. I went to the first one. The notices, we don't believe as a neighborhood that they noticed us properly. Very few people said they got a notice. Myself, we found ours in the bushes. Another neighbor found theirs in their flower bed. So there was limited response for the... looks like I got way ahead of myself here, didn't I? I didn't even change that. So there was a very poor turnout because I don't think the notices were properly sent out. Get up to speed here. At the meeting, we were told that the school district was going to provide buses, and that some of the students would be driving. They would not be permitted to park in the parking lot, and the residents insisted on not having a large volume of traffic and said that they needed to get more buses to bring these students into the area. We heard about what happened at Wilson School, and the same thing's happening to us now. Overwhelming number when the school opened, we were just flooded with vehicles coming down our street. We couldn't back out of our driveways. We were blocked in. When we did get a chance to get out of the driveway, it was just jammed. And we have parking on both sides of the street there, and you have to get in a little tunnel for one car to go east or west, and it was. You had to jockey for position and work your way down the street, car after car after car. So they're pouring down the streets. They're darting in and out. Myself as well, trying to get out. That's the only way you could do it. And I witnessed that they were backed up all the way to Woodward. There were 6 cars on Woodward that were stuck waiting to turn onto Oak Ridge. That's dangerous. On October 3rd, one of our very distraught residents decided she was going to write a letter. She wrote it to the mayor, to the police chief, and the superintendent, and she said she'd delivered them, hand-delivered them. And there was a sign-up sheet with over 33 residents that had signed as a petition that they supported the letter. The superintendent did provide a written response. We didn't feel he did an accurate response to our concerns. Basically felt like he just glossed over our concerns and expected us to live with it. There are numerous issues and accounts of dangerous and adverse effects of the traffic that is so overwhelming there. I've been caught in a tunnel facing another car because I was in the tunnel first, and about halfway through it, coming west, he just keeps coming at me. I have nowhere to pull over. And I can see cars just coming one after the other, right behind them. So I end up having to back up 20 or 30 feet before I can find a spot to turn around and go back the other way. And where's the consideration here? They're dangerous driving practices that go on every day there. I see it in the morning more because I'm going to work at that time. Same thing happens in the afternoon, though. One of the residents, one of the parents' drivers, on garbage day, had my garbage out at the curb, and came down, hit the garbage cans, and drove them up underneath the rear end of the car, my neighbor's car, who was parked next on the street in front of him, and just left. He just drove right on out. So there's a number of those issues that some of the people here can tell you about that we have to deal with. So that traffic is overwhelming. Yes, it does disperse, but at the periods of pickup and periods of drop-off get really dangerous and unsafe. The previous administration, again, like I said, they promised that we would not have this type of traffic on our street, the school administration. So we've had broken promises that now result in 250 to 300 cars that visit our street every day. So they're impacting the residents and disrupting the peace of our neighborhood. When I figured it out, I wanted to see how much the percentage of increase of traffic on our street. And I figured if 100 cars come down our street a day on a normal day, and I counted 220 one day and 216 the other day, in the morning only, that we would have a 200% increase of traffic on our street. That street's not designed for that kind of traffic load. Both the school and the Oak Ridge neighbors are in the same residential district. It's an R1 district. The R1 district is the most restrictive because it requires less density, so you have more. You're entitled to more space, a little bigger lot, and lesser height in buildings. So it's the most restrictive of the 4 residential districts. And it is designed that way to protect the integrity and the repose of day-to-day living. We're not enjoying that right now. And I believe city ordinance has restrictions to regulate the great volume of traffic that we're having to deal with. So, because of the complaints that the police department have had, they instituted a traffic study, and they completed that traffic study on November 4th in 2016. So this is kind of a synopsis of what they came up with. It's pretty close to everything they said. As a result of the study, that they are out there to review the circulation patterns around University High School at the dismissal period, which is from 2 to 3 in the afternoon, to verify congestion issues with the Ferndale Police Department. On October 14th, 2016, they observed congestion on Oak Ridge and Drayton. The buses were staged on Drayton. The cut-through drop-off was filled with waiting vehicles, a few waiting on Oak Ridge east of Bermuda to pick up students. And during the rush, some vehicles traveled west on Oak Ridge against the primary flow. That happens almost every day. With the street parking, inbound traffic, it temporarily gridlocked the street. So nobody was moving. Imagine if you have an emergency situation arise. People have to be rescued.
So let me just say, we're at 15 minutes now, and I am going to ask the chief to address some of the specific parking issues that you raised, and I noticed the next several slides deal with parking. Do you think it would be possible to perhaps get to what it is that you would like council to do this evening, because we are at 15 minutes, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Best I can.
Yeah, and I will have an opportunity to talk more specifically about the traffic.
Okay. So our concern over there is the traffic safety of our neighborhood and the peaceful environment that we've lost. I believe that the institution of the University High School is a density change as well as causing traffic problems. It also has increased the density. When the superintendent had his open houses, they told us what they're doing and asked us for any input, any suggestions. Do we have questions? They answered our questions, but we don't. We have no input. We've attempted to meet with them, and I called one of the university building leaders over there, like I was told to, from communication from the school board, and asked to meet as a neighborhood in the school, and they said no. We'll meet with you one at a time. And that didn't make me happy either, because I take forever to get to the bottom. Because of the change of density and the increase in traffic, and because of the increase in students, the increase in the school as far as them renting it out 5 days a week until 10, 11 o'clock at night, I believe that this is a change in use. And per the ordinance, under the city ordinance, under site plan review, I think the city has the right to ask the school district to come in and go through the plan review process. Now, though they're a separate entity from the city, but they don't own the streets, they don't have control over the streets, they do need to comply with the zoning ordinance, they can do whatever they want to on their property, but this is way past the school district. What the school district built there for the community was a middle school age kids that fit there, and a a district that would grow, and the neighbors enjoyed the kids, and the kid enjoys the neighborhood. We don't even get a chance to do that. So I'm asking the city council if they would look into the site plan review process so we get some control on all these things that are causing issues for us. So, and I'd like an answer on that.
So let me ask, before I ask the chief to come up, does council have any questions of our speaker based on what he said? Comments or questions?
I do have a comment. So it sounds like, based on the gist of what you said, is the concern is really the peace of mind, the increased density of traffic, and the renting out of the school, also causing traffic issues.
Also,
Is that correct?
well, because it's farther into the report, but it's also, life safety for people on the street who needs to be serviced by, in case of emergency. It's also, we've got a whole list here, but there's speeding, there's honking, there's illegal turns, and congested traffic. And I don't think that the traffic study, like the engineer who wrote it, is going to fix the problem, because he says it will improve it a little bit, but it's not going to solve the problem. And I don't want to live in a neighborhood that's going to have that problem.
Through the chair, if I may, can you just clarify who conducted the traffic study? Did we do that, or did?
The police department,
Yeah. TIA, was that?
TIA did it, yeah.
All right, thank you.
And I noticed one of the things you said is that since there's parking on both sides, that adds to the congestion. One of the questions I was going to ask the chief is it possible to restrict that to one side? But before I ask him that, is that desirable?
No, because a lot of people don't have garages. Mm-hmm. So there's really, if you take away their parking on that side, I don't know where they're going to go.
All right.
At least until from the school east to Bermuda, that's one side parking. So there's a little bit of relief when you get to that spot, but that's where they're dropping off the kids at. Kids are dropped off right there. And so they form two lanes coming eastbound, unloading the students. And the other lane is parked.
Gotcha. Okay, good.
One more question through the chair. And the most density that you see, the increase in density, I know some of the things that they have in the evening, like basketball and things like that in the building. And I just want to make sure, is there an increase during that time as well in the evening?
There is increased traffic because they're doing it every day now.
The rentals?
As far as I know,
Okay.
the lights,
Monday through Thursday. And the increased density is between 7 and 8 and 2 and 3, or just let me know when you see the most.
well, the parking lot starts to fill up around 7:30.
Okay.
What time they leave, I don't know, because I'm not on that side of the building, but I know the lights in the gym are on until at least 10 o'clock, and they come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's right across from my house. And that's a violation of the city ordinance. You can't be shining your light on other people's property. It's supposed to be 0-foot candles at the property line. That wasn't looked at when they built it. So they go off at 10. What time the people actually leave the gym, I don't know.
Oh. But and also the afternoon is 2 and 3, or
1:30 p.m. is when traffic begins to accumulate, and it lasts.
Until 4, sometimes 1:05, I saw some cars. It's waiting to pick up children.
School doesn't get out until 2:35. Parents are starting to stack up at 1:30, an hour before the kids get out. They're trying to get parking spots on East Drayton and on Oak Ridge, and they sit there for an hour.
I see an hour and a half ahead.
6:51 this morning, and they're parked right in front of 4 no parking signs
doing 45 miles an hour getting there.
It's extremely dangerous.
Chief Collins has tried really hard to try and bring things in. I mean, I see cars pulled over a couple times a week when I'm leaving for work, struggling to get out of the neighborhood to get to one of the thoroughfares. It's not a police chief effort sort of a thing. It's a difficulty trying to mediate the needs of the neighborhood with the needs of the school. I guess what I would hope from the city council is that you guys could help act as liaisons and mediators in this process, because it's not working. It is a mess. God forbid somebody need an ambulance or a police
happened last
officer
week.
during the times when there's so much traffic.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Gotcha. All right. Chief, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we conducted this study. Could you just sort of give us your perspective of what is truly the city responsibility? You're right, it's the school's property, and they created the school, and that's really out of our hands. But certainly the peace and well-being and the traffic of the neighborhood falls in our purview. So, Chief, could you just briefly...
It does, Your Honor, and we have been involved in the traffic planning from the onset when we were notified that they were moving University High School from the Wilson campus to the Coolidge campus. We knew that it was going to be a challenge from day one. There's not as much room at the Coolidge site as there was at the Wilson site. We had limited ability with the bus cut through because it narrows down to one lane, so we can only use it sporadically or for not in the best way. That is one of the suggestions that through the traffic study we made to the school district. Maybe this building season after the school year, is they can widen that to at least 2 lanes. Many of the neighbors didn't want the park to be impacted on the east end of the campus, and that was one of the big things at the meetings that came out. I don't believe the school district had the funds to make that into any type of a parking or drop-off area to begin with. That was one of our suggestions when we were going through, is to utilize some of that real estate. But I think that, what their main concern was is they wanted to keep that park there as well.
Their main concern being the schools or the residents?
The residents.
Yeah.
I don't think the school had the money, the funding to, at the time, was before the sinking fund passed, and I don't think they had the money to even consider I believe it was $350,000 or more in order to utilize that. And even that, it would be a challenge. There's not that much room there, but it would have been some relief there as well. Making the cut through 2 lanes is going to be a minor relief as well. What the gentleman states is true. We have 2 distinct times of the day where we have severe traffic congestion. The drop-off in the morning, which lasts a little bit less time than the pickup in the afternoon. Pickup in the afternoon is different because people will go there and you have to wait for your student. And sometimes if you're the third person in that cut-through and you're still waiting for your student, that can slow the whole process up. So it is we have been monitoring it. We have made adjustments to our original plan. We no longer allow people to turn off of Bermuda onto either Oak Ridge or to Drayton. That has helped somewhat. He's right that we do have on a daily basis that folks will violate that sign, but a lot of them have gotten citations for that. It is not as bad as it was originally as far as the violation of that, but when that happens, particularly around the drop-off, it does create, when you've got westbound traffic going up Oak Ridge, and you have the most of the traffic obviously coming east to pick up their student, that becomes a challenge for the westbound traffic. And we are, one of the things we're embarking on is we're creating flyers for the schools to show them alternative places to pick up and drop off throughout the neighborhood, trying to spread them over onto the east side of Bermuda, also some of the streets north of the campus as well and south of the campus as well. But again, compliance with these ideas becomes individual. But they are utilizing buses. The school is providing bus service for students at 3 different locations in the city of Detroit. but that's not being utilized as much as we would hope that we had originally hoped as well. So
3 buses about 60% full. So you're looking at about 140, 130 kids being bussed in, and then you've got the remainder being dropped off.
Which is more students than were enrolled at Coolidge before.
Yeah,
So
it used to be
far
200.
more students are being dropped off, and fewer students are coming in on buses.
Gotcha.
Many more students are even parking on the streets in front of our homes. Students, not students being dropped off by parents, but students for the whole day.
So
It's a
city
mess.
services, snow removal is going to be a disaster. Leaf pickup has been a real problem. Luckily they're coming at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I called and said, could you adjust it because you can't do it before 3 o'clock. And then it's a community center, really up until 7 o'clock with the basketball. It's from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. It is a community center. And we're not allowed, we're not a part of the community really. It's just insane.
although we did have TIA do a study. That's where a lot of this information comes. There are a couple of other adjustments that we could deploy. However, I'm not so sure that those adjustments would make that much of a difference, but we're willing to try that. We want to have a little bit more data collection on what is going on now before we make any large adjustments to the traffic flow plan. Because it's just like anything else. You change one part, you might make something a little bit better here and make it worse over there. So there's going to be a give and take. We're looking at the possibility of putting the bus traffic onto Bermuda. We got permission from the fire department that is a traffic lane, or a fire lane rather. And however, we haven't seriously looked at that because we have some cross traffic issues that may cause, because of the larger number of pedestrians. We would have to make some adjustments to Drayton and Oak Ridge as well, and that the give on Bermuda may cause Drayton and Oak Ridge to become a little bit more congested.
Right.
We did look at parking. When we were talking this through, we did look at making streets one way. We didn't think that the residents would appreciate that. We also looked at limiting parking. We figured that the residents there would also have an issue with taking parking on the one side away. Those ideas were all floated, and we felt that the impact on the neighborhood again would be detrimental to the neighbors as well. We're willing to look at that, but I think the neighborhood would have to come forward and say that they would see the one-way traffic or restricting parking.
Okay. Does council have any questions of the chief? All right. So I certainly appreciate and respect you all coming here. We're not going to have a solution for you tonight, but I guess what I would suggest is that we task our staff with addressing some of the recommendations that the chief has said, some of the specific requests that they've made in the presentation, and give recommendations on those, and to communicate that both back to council and obviously to the resident group when that's appropriate as well.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I do have a comment.
Please.
May I?
Please.
One of the requests tonight was that that the city council require the school board to apply for and obtain a special use approval.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the schools, the state of Michigan allows in our state law for school districts to bypass city zoning. They don't have to follow it at all. It's a state law. They can create and build schools wherever they want and not follow the city's master land use planning process.
That's true.
So what cities do across the state of Michigan is partner as best with their school districts. And I think our city has a strong partnership with our school district, though they've made choices based off of their strategic plan where to close and relocate schools based off of their studies and what is best for the students in the school district. And so I just wanted to address that tonight. So we're far gone, even if they wanted to follow the master land or the zoning, we're far past that, because the site plan approval is what you get approved before you move in. So that process is, we're farther down the road than that process
But that's for a middle school, right?
It's for any school. It's any school,
You
yes.
can change a middle school to a high school. You can take it from 200 kids to 450 kids. You can allow now kids and parents to stop in the middle of the street and unload kids and stop traffic. Now, that's the other thing. It's insanity on
So
these
that's what I'm
streets.
saying, the traffic issues are definitely something that we can address and try to mitigate. The ability of them to put a school of any type that they like there is, by state law, their
So it
right to
wasn't
do.
deeded or deemed for as a middle school, it will stay as a middle
Well,
school.
you know what,
Through
you're
the
getting
chair-
into questions that
through
we'll
the
answer.
chair,
Yeah.
there is a limited review for local zoning
Right.
as it relates to high school buildings. However, it's very limited, and I think I would need to provide further
Okay.
research and provide that input back to council.
All right.
So as a general rule, the superintendent of public instruction has sole and exclusive jurisdiction over the siting of school buildings. There is a limited, very limited carve-out for high school buildings where they meet certain thresholds, which I'm not sure have been met in this case.
And that's what I guess I meant by, we're going to, the specific
Right.
request of doing that, we will investigate, and that includes our city attorney. We'll ask him what authority we have and don't have and all of those things. So,
Because to me, it doesn't seem like it's a Ferndale school anymore because it's affiliated with Wayne State University and it's a college preparatory school and none of the residents are from Ferndale. So is it a charter school now that is run by the Ferndale School District? I don't know. I mean, it's take
not,
a
right.
leap from a middle school of 200 kids to now a program with Wayne State University and Detroiters, taking 450 kids away from the Detroit School District, which is spending a lot of money in Lansing trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. And now we're bringing them into Ferndale. And just saying, well, adapt to it, residents. This is the way it is. This is the school system of the 21st century. It's school of choice. Deal with it.
which to some degree, Lansing has created the schools of choice system that has unleashed this monster, but, and you know that, and that's a bigger,
Yep.
that's a bigger policy
And I
issue,
don't
but,
mean to go off, but
no, I appreciate, I understand your passion, I appreciate it,
As
yeah.
soon as it became a school of choice, we've been having parents fly up and down our street
Yeah.
as soon as, the buses and the kids walking to school stop because there's no populace for it.
So that'll be our plan. I don't know how long you think that will take, but we'll ask you to do that as expeditiously as possible,
Can do that.
and our commitment to you is to communicate back to the residents. I'm going,
If I could say one more thing,
all right, two
Under
more
the-
things, and then truly,
Okay.
we're going to have, we've got a rest of an agenda to do.
because the
Yes.
schedule of regulations under your city code says that governmental buildings are in a residential area are a special use approval. Is a school a governmental
No.
building?
It is, but again, the state statute will control over local ordinance and the local zoning ordinance unless that one carve-out I've already addressed applies in this circumstance. So
But we'll
as a
ask, and
general
we'll,
rule,
we'll
state
spell
laws
that
can
out for
control.
you in the response, because I don't know the answer to that, and our attorney will look that up, but we will,
Thank you.
we'll find out exactly. And then, sir, you get the last word.
One quick thing when you're
Yeah.
doing the study on, I teach high school for 12 years old.
Okay.
Looking at this.
Congratulations and thank you, by the way, yeah.
Looking at this situation, I live right across the street, this is zoned as a high school now, okay? Generally, high schools, 11 to 12 graders are driving to school, okay? Particularly now, in Ferndale Public Schools, look at this being economically challenged. I taught in Detroit for 5 years, so I was going to high school.
Right.
They're looking at and just basing it off of this old elementary school with just enough parking for staff, just enough, there's not much more. So you mean to tell me next year if they go out and solicit and get more students, 200 more students enroll in this program, now maybe you have 200 students that can afford cars or their parents are buying them cars, barely going to put 200 cars on this site. My thing, and I suggest, because I also taught at Lakeland High School, Huron Valley Schools, they have 2 high schools in one. They have the International Academy below. They have Lakeland High School above, 2 separate principals, 2 bell systems, 2 schedules. The advantages for this, which I need to address the school board and actually talk to, if I can get in and talk to some of the parents, is it's not accommodating for parents to be dropping them off over here when they are allowed to take and participate in football, band, extracurricular activities. They don't have the space to do that at this high school. Reason at Lakeland High School was some of the students that were taking band or part of the football program or art classes were able to go upstairs, take them with the Lakeland High School, go back below to International Academy West. I don't know why Ferndale High School didn't look at, Ferndale Public Schools did not look at this, because the facility is a beautiful campus, baseball diamonds, football fields, lost enrollment, plenty of space. I don't know, if I was to address this to the parents, I know for sure they'd be like, this is a lot easier than waiting there, then have to drive for football practice, baseball, volleyball, cheerleading. It's not a conversation.
So you're saying Ferndale High School is where?
Yeah, that's where it should be.
Okay.
You don't have space to add it. If 200 more students come in next year and they all have cars, then then they're going to be addressing this issue all over again. So that's all. I mean, if you could check into the parking spaces based on a high school versus middle school and elementary school, it's going to be different. I'm sure it's English. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And I really do appreciate you all coming this evening. And we promise to be as quick as we can in our response to your suggestions. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. We have added a presentation. Julia, I'm going to hope yours isn't 45 minutes because we're way behind schedule, but that's all right. That was a really good and important discussion, and I really appreciate everyone's their time tonight. It is. But Julia, you've got some good news for us this evening, correct?
Yes.
All right.
No.
Okay. You're good.
No PowerPoint. I didn't even I forgot to bring you guys rainbow necklaces. I didn't have enough time to run home and grab them. But today is the second best day of the year because Ferndale Pride obviously is the best day of the year. But today is the day where Ferndale Pride gets to give away money to our charities. We are one of the very few Pride festivals that has a goal of giving away money to several charities within the city. And so today we get to give away money to 5 charities. Many of them, well, they're all here today, actually. So the first one is our fiduciary. They do a ton of work for us. It's the Ferndale Community Foundation. So most of those people are sitting on the city council right now. Their charity, though, and there's a lot of nonprofits in the room, so listen to this. If you are interested in starting a project in Ferndale, and that could be anything from the clinic to an anti-bullying program at the schools, any type of project in Ferndale, you can apply to the Ferndale Community Foundation in the springtime. The phone number is 248-672-4067, and you can start your own project. So that goes for charities who are receiving money today as well. So since they are a fiduciary, they didn't write themselves their own check, but the rest of the organizations are here. So the second organization is Affirmations, which is our LGBTQA community center in downtown Ferndale.
All right. Yay. Excellent.
Our second or third organization, I can't count. That's clear. Good thing I teach English. Matrix Mac Health. Monica Mills is here. She's still here? Yes, thank you. Matrix Mac Health has been providing our volunteer coordinator and helping us throughout our entire process. So we want to thank Monica.
Yes, thank you.
Transgender Michigan hosts our other Pride in Ferndale. We actually have 2 Prides in Ferndale. We have Ferndale Pride, which will be on June 3rd, 2017, in case I didn't get it in the first time. And then we have a Pride, Transgender Pride, which is one of the biggest transgender prides in the entire country. And I have been really honored to watch it grow throughout the years. And last year, I think we had over 200 people show up, which was pretty amazing because it rained just as hard there as it did at Ferndale Pride 2 years ago. So congratulations to Transgender Michigan. And we have one new charity to add this year, which I'm really excited about. Gender Identity Network does some amazing, amazing work. And most recently hosted Transgender Day of Empowerment, which I've gone to every single year since they started that event. And I have to say, every year I think I know everything, and every year I walk away realizing I knew nothing. So I want to thank them for the work they're doing in our community as well.
Yeah. And because I see our communications person here and we love photos, maybe we could have all of the representatives come up for a group shot, and maybe Dan, you could represent the Community Foundation, since that is one of the 5, right?
And Greg is actually Ferndale Pride.
Okay. I have no objection to that. And let's do a group shot.
Sure.
Pyramid.
pyramid. I don't know about that. Wonderful. And Julia, thank you to you while they're all gathering, because you are the, what is your title at Pride? You are from the Pride, but you're the CEO or executive, you're the, I don't know, Grand Poobah, event coordinator, and we thank you for all the work that you do as well. Oh, okay. I didn't get one of those. Oh, you didn't skip me or some reason.
Was it just give it to the women here? Was it what happened?
I don't know.
Just give Marnie has
I
it.
don't know, maybe. All right. Thank you very much. And June 3rd, right, Julia? June 3rd?
June 3rd.
2017, yes.
1 o'clock downtown.
And I've already put in an order for sunshine and...
It was actually the same exact temperature today as it was at Pride 2 years ago.
Oh, my God.
44 degrees and raining. So we just needed to change around.
But rain or shine, it's always great, but shine is better.
Right.
All right.
We'll dance in the rain. We're fine.
Awesome.
Well, and I would like to add that today the event actually gave out over $11,000.
Yeah.
So we raise a significant amount of money for local nonprofits.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Moving on now, and the agenda is called Audience, and this is your opportunity if you're here in the audience and you want to address council on any issue that's not on the agenda, because we'll let you speak to that at that portion of the agenda, but to come on up, and you get 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes if you need that long, to say whatever you would like and give us your name, your address, and 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Phoenix. I live at 440 East Webster in Ferndale. And I'm here to talk about the situation at the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation in North Dakota. The Dakota Access Pipeline, operated by Energy Transfer Partners, would bring oil from the Bakken fields of North Dakota to refineries in Illinois. The 1,172-mile pipeline would run under 209 streams and rivers, including the Missouri River, which 8 million people, including the Standing Rock tribe, depend on for water. Because of the potential of pipeline breaks and water contamination, the nearby people of Bismarck opted not to have the pipeline run upstream of them. The Army Corps of Engineers instead moved the pipeline upstream of the Standing Rock tribe. The pipeline runs through lands that were given to the tribe in the 1851 Treaty of Fort Loraine. The tribe has been working through the U.S. Court of Appeals to halt pipeline construction and do surveys for Native American artifacts and an environmental study. The Obama administration asked the pipeline to voluntarily halt construction, which they've not done. It is currently standing at the Missouri River, awaiting for the last permit to drill under the riverbed. This pipeline will not bring lasting jobs to the area or significantly affect oil prices around the world. Almost 10,000 water protectors have gathered on the reservation and have been met with increased violence from private security forces and the Morton County Sheriff's Department. Per circles have been met with water cannons, rubber bullets, pepper spray. Elders leading ceremonies have been taken to jail, strip searched, and charged with rioting. One protester is facing the amputation of her arm because of a concussion grenade thrown at protesters by the sheriff's office. As a response to the violence, on December 4th, hundreds of veterans plan on deploying to Standing Rock. On December 5th, the Army Corps of Engineers are threatening to evict protesters off land that by law belongs to the Standing Rock Sioux. I know by witnessing our own Ferndale Police Department handle different situations, this is not how officers are supposed to act. As a Michigan resident in a diverse little town, I recognize the struggle of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe to try and maintain their rights. I can see the same struggle in our neighbors in Flint, who on November 28, 2016, still do not have clean water. I can empathize with Standing Rock's pain and the pain of other Native Americans as they try to be treated as equals while healing 400 years of oppression. During the Love March, I got to listen to Mayor Coulter talk about the love and strength and courage we had at that march and to stand in our truth. So I'm standing here today with compassion and love for the Standing Rock Sioux and asking Ferndale to join over 300 Native American tribes and global Native nations in 19 cities to stand with Standing Rock and pass a resolution saying that you oppose the pipeline and that you are asking the federal government and the governments of North Dakota to honor the treaties that were made with the Standing Rock Sioux. Seattle, Cleveland, Portland, Berkeley, Santa Barbara, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and others are standing with Standing Rock. I'm asking Ferndale to now stand with Standing Rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Monica Mills, 275 West Breckenridge. It's holiday time, and so we want to raise donations for our Ferndale Goodfellows, which of course are police, fire, and city workers that raise money for families in our area that are in need. So for the 10th time, my husband and I are organizing the End of Prohibition event that benefits Ferndale Goodfellows. It's December 3rd this year. The venues that the event will take place in are Bosco, Danny's, Dino's, House by You, The Red Door, Sneakers, Soho, and the Twisted Tavern. We suggest that people, if you're into it, dress up as your favorite flapper, gangster, or rum runner. And we'll have volunteers that'll come around at the venues and ask people to give donations. One of our special volunteers and sponsors are Dan Martin and also Greg Pollica. Greg is out of town this year, so watch for Dan. He'll have a jug.
I'll have the jug.
And he has these fun little stickers that if you people on council give a donation to Dan tonight, he'll give you one of those stickers. And I also gave the ladies some white beads, so if you're interested in coming out to play, you've already got your flapper beads.
Oh, that was a lady thing. I wonder why I got passed over. All right.
And I also want to recognize the Ferndale Community Foundation. They stepped up to help us with some things that we needed for some of our sponsors. Sponsors include Tito's Vodka, Danny's Irish Pub, Sneakers, the Twisted Tavern, and the Red Door, and the Green Thumb in our area, and of course the bar downstairs in the Livernois Lounge. Best kept secrets in Ferndale. And I also want to recognize that some businesses from out of town, John R. Glass of Troy, Sucher Tire, and Dynamic Dents are also sponsors. And also Tiffany and Tom Gagne are sponsors, and Craig Covey. So come on out on the 3rd and have some fun and raise a glass to legal libation.
Excellent. And thanks to you and Larry for all the hard work you do on that event. Yes. Good evening.
Hi, my name's Rachel Murray. I live at 261 West Maplehurst. And I just, number one, want to support the resolution and standing with Standing Rock. I think that's a great idea. And also, in a similar vein, these are tough times and some ugly things are coming out around the country. And I know that this community is peaceful and inclusive and loving, and that we strive to get better at that all the time with the work of our Ferndale Inclusion Network and the work that's being done at the schools. There's a lot of activity happening here to show that, you know, we really want to reach a higher level of inclusiveness. And so I know that it's in our hearts, but I noticed that the city of San Francisco recently passed a resolution, and I brought copies of it for you guys because I was so impressed by it, and I would love to see a similar resolution on the books here in Ferndale. This resolution specifically addresses the election of President-elect Trump. I don't think we need to do that. I don't think we need to alienate the members of our community who voted for him that may not have intended any negative effect on their neighbors. I think more than anything, I would just really like to see a firm stance against the behaviors that we're seeing and the actions and the spirit of our community. So I don't know who I can bring.
You can give that to our city clerk, and she'll make sure we all get copies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council this evening? All right, seeing no one else, we'll move on now to item 6, which is, we have 2 public hearings this evening. We'll start with the first one, which is a liquor license transfer to Jay's Penalty Box at 22726 Woodward Avenue. And who's introducing that item?
I can, Marnie.
Thank you. Marnie?
Yep. This is the request to transfer the liquor license from the old Club Art location, currently owned by Farrer Productions, to Jay's Penalty Box. This would be an existing liquor license at the same location. They did appear before the Liquor License Review Committee last week, and the committee is forwarding a recommendation that the application be approved. The transfer does not require the approval of local government, but opinions will be considered. We have sent out public hearing notices to all the residents within 300 feet and all of the current Class C liquor licensees in the city.
Excellent. So before I open up the public hearing, is there anyone here on the part of the applicant who would like to just say a few brief words about, about the transfer before we ask the public? Sure.
Thank you. Mayor, commissioners, and officials, my name is Scott McDonald of 24901 Northwestern Highway in Southfield. I'm very pleased. It's a privilege to represent Sam and Janice Sema in this exciting new project that they've embarked on. I would say that as an attorney doing a lot of liquor licensing work, there are 2 aspects of this application that really struck me as notable. Number one is the Semas voluntarily chose not to pursue a transfer of the dance permit that was attached to this Class C license. Dance permits are coveted in every town, and they recognized that was not the kind of establishment that they would want to open. So despite the intrinsic value in having a dance permit and the fact that the license that they seek to have transferred already has a dance permit attached to it, they're going to be omitting that, not only from their city application, but also from their state application. Secondarily, what strikes me is that the Semas seem particularly interested in preserving public safety and compliance. In fact, to the point where they've already trained their entire staff for alcohol service. They've already got all their certifications, and they didn't just train the servers, they also trained the kitchen personnel. I mean, everybody has been trained, and that's a first. I've helped dozens and dozens of applicants in various cities, and never seen somebody get on the ball that quickly. So I think that says something a lot about Mr. and Mrs. Sema and the type of responsible corporate citizens that they're dedicated to being in the city of Ferndale. So with that, I would, of course, invite any questions.
And you are the owners?
We are.
Come on up and say hi. Are you the J in Jay's Penalty Box?
I'm the J.
All right.
I'm Janice Sema.
It's nice to meet you. Just introduce yourself. You don't have to...
I'm Sam Sema.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to be 22726 Woodward.
Tell us just a little, very briefly, about your vision for the establishment, just while you're
It's
here.
a sports bar.
Yeah.
And the upper stage that Bart used to have entertainment on.
Yep.
And I think Eddie had a VIP lounge.
Right.
That's our penalty box. Oh. So if you ask me for karaoke, you're getting 3 minutes in that penalty box.
That I support. That I support. Right.
But the red lights, hockey theme, all sports welcome. Not an obnoxious amount of TVs. I think we've got 13? 13. 13. One to a clubhouse, that upper bar. Mm-hmm. They have their own because I want to sponsor sports teams, Ferndale teams. Right. Then they have a place to sit, their own TV, their own bartender. Kitchen. It's a gorgeous kitchen. Mm-hmm. We're doing simple. Prime burgers. The old, instead of, I don't like lunch meat. I don't know about anybody else. So we're going to roast turkeys and we're going to roast corned beef. And we're going to have pulled sandwiches. We're going to have 4 salads, homemade soup every day, one steak and a fish fry. That's it.
Thanks.
And we just want to, Ferndale's my dream. I worked here for a long time. I'm going to cry. When that property became available, I did this to him. I said, please, honey, please. This was our retirement idea for our 22 years of marriage. We're not retiring. It came faster. Joel Karboski, who's a broker in the city. You see his name everywhere. He's a friend. And he called and he said, you're never going to believe it. And I said, what? He said, Club Bar. Well, I called him at work and I said, you got to come home.
We didn't even ask the price. We said, we'll take it.
I just...
And then we dealt with all the...
And then he's the negotiator.
With the rest with Eddie.
But...
Yeah.
And then here
so
we stand.
this is Janice's dream.
All right. Good.
And that bulldog on the sign
is our dog at
is
home.
our dog. That's Daisy.
We have 2 bulldogs. So.
Obviously very personal to you. Wonderful.
Very personal.
So let us do the official business here.
Okay.
And I'm going to open up the public hearing. So is there anyone from the public that would like to address council on this liquor license transfer this evening? And as Marnie said, it is no longer the city's authority to approve or deny these, but any of your statements or comments we can incorporate into a suggestion to the state. So is there anyone here that would like to address council? All right. I don't see anyone. Going once, going twice. All right, so we will close the public hearing. And so as a result, is there any action that we need to take this evening?
Can we ask questions?
Of course, yes, yeah.
Through the chair, could you confirm for me your hours of operation? Your intent is to stay open until 2 a.m. every day?
365. I want to feed everybody on Thanksgiving. I want to do things on Christmas. I can't wait for Pride. I can't wait for the Blues Fest. This is all stuff that I did for Brian Kramer at the old Rosie's.
Yeah.
If anybody's old enough to remember.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that long ago.
I already ordered rainbow shirts for the Bulldogs. We can't wait to get involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
No, through the chair, I sit on the Liquor Review Board, and I didn't have a chance to meet you personally that day, but I was on the phone, and you can just tell they're just such a wonderful couple. They're going to be a wonderful addition to Ferndale. I'm looking forward to you being part of our community as a business owner.
And I made it a J too because we have Jazz and Jordan. So
when we retire, the J stays up.
We plan to be in Ferndale really long.
I appreciate the menu options. I don't know how often I've mentioned to somebody how much I miss the food at the old Rosie's, just the chunks of meat.
Chunks of meat.
Telling you what, it was a great menu.
Several times.
Councilman Martin, do you have a preference as to the type of steak you would like them to serve?
Well, we'll talk later.
I think. Why don't I make a motion?
I just wanted to throw in a plug. You know, maybe we can bring back that delicious potato soup from Rosie's back in the day. That was fantastic.
You brought up the old Rosie's.
Just
Now
saying.
you've done it.
Just saying. Okay.
So we do need to
Yeah,
recommend a motion. Thank you.
I move to recommend to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission approval of the request from Jay's Penalty Box to transfer a Class C liquor license to be located at 22726 Woodward Avenue, Ferndale.
Support.
Moved by Piana and supported by Martin. Is there further discussion or comments?
Best of luck.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Administratively, just for the purposes of the motion, there are 2 liquor licenses that are
There are
being
2 liquor
transferred.
licenses,
Yeah,
Dave?
there's a Class C and then also an SDM, a to-go license for beer and wine, which would be used in connection with their catering permit.
So I guess the question is, are we asked to opine just on the Class C, or will they, do they want?
There is a proposed resolution in your material that references both the Class C and the SDM.
So we should modify the motion to
So it
include
would be
them both,
appropriate to amend the...
All
Did I miss that resolution?
Why don't you amend your motion?
I don't even see the one that has both.
I don't either.
Dan,
do you have the appropriate
Yeah,
language?
it would just be to approve the Class C and the SDM liquor license.
Okay, to include the Class C liquor license and the SDM liquor license.
All right. And Dan, do you support that
I do.
amendment? Okay.
I would like to add, Your Honor, that some people may be questioning why we are approving a liquor license, aside from the fact that they really don't require it. But this is an existing license, and therefore our, I'm going to get the terminology, the parking issue that we...
Payment in lieu of.
Payment in lieu of, thank you very much. That doesn't apply in this instance because it is an existing license that is already within the city of Ferndale, and therefore they are not adding any additional seats. In fact, I think they're taking away seats.
I'm crazy.
So,
yep.
Just wanted to make sure that that was out there in the public.
Good point. All right. Last comments or questions?
Oh, when do you plan on opening?
As soon as you tell me I can. You busy Thursday? We're ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
as soon as the C of O and fire marshal and we get our C of O,
And Lansing says we're good.
and Lansing says we can, it's go time.
Yep.
My Powers driver says, listen, today I've had your shipment on that truck for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Driving it around.
You are ready.
I said, I guess you're excited.
All right. So if there's, then we'll do our part. If there's no further discussion or comments, Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Martin?
Yes.
Polika?
Yes.
Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. And good luck to you. Yes, welcome to your new business. All right, our second public hearing this evening is on the CDBG fiscal year 2017 application to fund eligible projects. We do this every year. Our Director of Community and Economic Development makes a recommendation on how to spend those funds, and Jordan, you're here to do that.
Hey, everybody. Yes, that is 100% accurate.
Thank you.
So as you saw in your packet, the general gist this year is we're looking to reaffirm last year's commitment, but also we've had a lot of conversations with Oakland County and our public service partners. We really want to get into rethinking the way that we allocate these funds. So what you have before you is a recommendation from staff to approve the submittal of a plan that reflects last year's commitment, knowing that our intent is to work with the county and work with our public service providers to modify the way that we use these funds. A lot of that has to do with, and not to sort of read through again the packet, but the master land use plan that we're working on, the strategic objectives there, the mission and vision strategic retreat that council and staff just completed, making sure that over time that we align the use of these funds with those goals. So that exercise will happen, but seeing as those work products are still in process, the application deadline's December. We've already kind of talked about this with the county, and they're on board with us going that route. And that's generally the gist.
So the first thing we have to do is actually have the public hearing. So we'll start with that. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address council on the expenditures of the CDBG funded projects for fiscal year 2017? Good evening.
My name is Blair Grin. I'm here representing Haven, which is Oakland County's nonprofit center for the prevention and treatment of domestic violence and sexual assault. I'm actually also a Ferndale resident. I live at 771 Silman, and I am the criminal court advocate assigned to the 43rd District Court, so sometimes I work with Mr. Christ on prosecution cases. But I wanted to begin by thanking the City of Ferndale for your continued support. I know I've been here a couple years, and you guys always give very generously. But over this last fiscal year, Haven serves all of Oakland County and the surrounding areas, but I know specifically we were able to serve 48 residents from Ferndale, and a minimum of 23 calls on the crisis line, folks that did identify as callers from Ferndale. And I also supervise the Personal Protection Order Office located at the Circuit Court, and just coincidentally, I've had 3 or 4 citizens from our city come in just in the last week, which is a little unorthodox. We don't usually have so many Ferndale folks, but it was a little bit of a change of pace. But anyway, I would ask that you continue your support again for this upcoming 2017-2018 fiscal year. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them about the services that we provide to Ferndale and the surrounding area. So, fire away.
Anyone have any questions?
No, I just appreciate you letting us know how our investment is impacting our residents. It's important.
It is, and appreciate you being here.
Sure.
Thanks. Anyone else from the public that would like to address council on this item this evening? Yes, please. Come on up to the microphone so the folks at home can also hear you.
My name is Jeannie McCarthy. I live at 233 Fielding Street. I just want to express my support for Haven. I know some people that work there, and I think it's a wonderful organization. And I'm just really impressed by you guys and what you do and the amazing strength that it takes to do that kind of work. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing portion. And now, council, it's your opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments that you have on this application.
Make a motion?
Yeah.
I move to approve the Community Development Block Grant application for program year 2017 with the following breakdown. Code enforcement, $64,351. Public service activity, yard services for $8,000. The public service activity, battered and abused spouses, $3,000, totaling $75,351. And to authorize the mayor to sign the grant application, subrecipient agreement, and the conflict of interest certification as responsible entity official signature.
Support.
Moved by Martin and supported by Polika. Now, any questions, comments? Maybe just a couple, Jordan. And you and I have talked about this. As you're investigating how we may modify or change the program going forward, and I know we're talking with Oakland County, I think our relationship with them works great, and I think the value that we get from their services is good. But and I've put this on your radar before, but there are some communities in Oakland County that actually run the program entirely themselves without going through the county as the pass-through. And my perception's always been they get a larger chunk of money for that. Now, there's also larger administrative and other responsibilities that come along with that, so I'm not sure that there's any benefit in not using Oakland County as our pass-through, but as you do your investigation, if you could just sort of snoop around. I know Royal Oak is one of the communities, I think Southfield might be another, that do that, and if there would be benefit that's not overly burdensome. I'd just be curious as to what the advantage could possibly be.
Absolutely, and that's definitely going to be part of our calculus. One of the nice things about, if you can find nice things about slow timing for the way that the funds are approved and released for CDBG, just for reflection, so last year's budget got released end of October, early November. So that'll happen again this next year, which gives us sort of a runway to work with what we've got here and take a much closer look at how that works. One thing I will say that Barb and I had found out in meeting with Oakland County is things like the home improvement loan program that we get some of those advantages by them managing. We're going to definitely weigh the pros and cons, though, for sure.
Good. And then the other thing I would just add is, because I'm open to modifying this however you make recommendations, but my guess is that council will still be interested in supporting the Haven program going forward, however those changes look. That would be my guess, and I'm not suggesting you're suggesting otherwise. But
the main nugget to be looking at here for us is the code enforcement chunk.
Yeah, right.
We think that that's something that CED might be able to absorb, and we can start putting that money to projects for sure. But that's something that, again, is going to be a process of just sort of working with all the different stakeholders and making sure, going through the budget process, et cetera.
Just as a follow-up, I've been told CBDG application reporting is a blessing and a curse. Blessing that you get the money, the curse is that you actually have to apply and report on it. And so I just want to make sure that we know what the cost is to actually administer those funds. Usually it's quite more significant. Yeah. So when you do a cost-benefit analysis with the city versus county, I'm interested in that.
Sure. I'll definitely keep that on the radar.
Yeah.
And may I opine here real quick? I suspect that CBDG monies from the federal government will be decreased because we've battled it out before, and I've made calls to my Congress people before to keep CBDG levels at where they are, and I suspect that we're going to go through that again on another cycle.
Yep. True.
That's my opinion, not fact. Foreshadowing.
Other comments or questions?
Put the card to your head.
And we have a motion and a support. So if there's no other comments or questions, Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Council members Polika?
Yes.
Piana?
Yes.
Leaks-May?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. That item is adopted. Thank you, Jordan. Moving on now to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are items that we consider routine and we enact in one motion unless someone on council pulls something from the consent agenda. I know we've removed something already. But let me read the consent agenda items now. Item A is the approval of the minutes of the regular and special meetings held November 14, 2016, and the special meeting of November 19th and 18th and 19th of the same year. Item B is the approval of the attached non-union salary structure, recommended implementation schedule, and non-union salary policy effective July 1st, 2016, excluding the city manager, who will be discussed later, and that was submitted by the city manager. Item C is the approval of the Windows Server licensing agreement with CDWG in the amount of $4,670.50 from the account as listed. Item D has been removed and tabled for a future meeting. Item E is the approval of the request to purchase BS&A software upgrades as outlined by the city manager's office and the CED department. Funds shall come from the account listed, software licensing account. And finally, item F is the approval of the bills and payroll as submitted by the city manager's office, subject to review by our council finance committee. What is council's pleasure on the consent agenda this evening?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as listed, as presented, with noted that item 7D has been tabled for another day.
Excellent. Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Leaks May and supported by Martin. Now, discussion on the consent agenda. All right. Hearing none, I will ask Marnie to call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Polika?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. The consent agenda is adopted. Moving on now to our regular agenda, and we have just one item this evening, and that is the consideration to set a public hearing to vacate a portion of the East Troy Street right-of-way. So not actually to vacate it, just to set a public hearing to vacate it. And who's going to introduce that item? Is that Jordan? Is that you? Yep. Excellent.
Hey again, long time no see. This will be, I'll be really brief. I know you have the packet in front of you. Essentially, this is an effort to unify the Campbell Fresh campus. There's a gentleman here from Campbell Fresh to talk about the project a little bit as well. His name's Ryan. He's going to give a little bit more of an overview. And Justin and I worked on this item. We support it. We think it'll help the neighborhood out. One of the big things is sort of alleviating the parking that's happening on Troy Street and allowing employees at Campbell Fresh to use this space. But I'll let Ryan, I don't want to steal all your thunder.
Ryan, good evening.
It's Rory.
Rory, oh, Rory?
Yeah.
Rory,
So,
okay.
I'm not actually a...
I'm not allowed to park.
That's right. So I'm not a Ferndale resident, but I'm honored to be here. Thanks for hearing us out. I'm the plant controller for Garden Fresh Gourmet. You guys are probably more familiar with the name Garden Fresh than Sea Fresh. We've taken on the Sea Fresh name since Campbell acquired the business last year. But yeah, as you guys stated, the purpose of my being here is to essentially request to set a public hearing to consider our proposal for vacating a section of the dead-end East Troy Street to allow us to expand our employee parking for our growing business, and as Jordan alluded to, sort of relieve some of the parking issues that we have on East Troy Street itself, as well as Saratoga and our existing off-street parking that we have.
So maybe you both sort of generally referred to it, but parking issues specifically, what's going on there?
Yeah, so we've got, we do have some off-street parking that's at the end of our Bonner Street where our plant is located, but there's not nearly enough capacity in that lot to house all of our employees who work at the plant. So then folks end up parking on Saratoga if there's room, and then when there's not, they park on Troy, and then, you know, after that fills up, it's pretty much every man for himself. So we really are in sort of dire need of some additional parking. We do lease a lot currently from Illinois Tool Works, which is off of Faro. This portion of Troy Street is actually adjacent to that space that we lease, and it would kind of connect the two parking lots. And we do plan on having ingress and egress off of Faro so that Troy Street isn't inundated with incoming traffic to the parking lot. So that's the idea.
Through the chair, if I may, how many employees do you currently have at
Yeah,
the site?
so good question. It's somewhere between 300 and 400. I don't have the exact number, but we do have a lot of folks, and we're actually investing and near completion on a large raw material warehouse on site, and that is going to actually bring 20 to 25 new employees from our Taylor, Michigan distribution center, which we're closing down, and those folks are going to be coming to Ferndale. So what we have now, which is overcrowded, isn't going to be able to support that.
So through the chair, that's kind of what I was going to ask him. So 400 employees. So the space in which you would like to acquire, will that be enough? That will be more than ample space?
Sure. So it's actually part of a longer-term plan that we have for
Okay.
parking. So the Illinois Tool Works place space that we lease is part of that long-term plan. We also own a house on the east end of East Troy Street that's closest to our plant. This dead-end portion of the street is sort of the place where you would turn into that driveway. Our long-term plan is actually to demolish that house and make additional parking there as well. So, short answer, no. It's not going to solve our long-term issues, but it's definitely going to be a step in the right direction.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So it looks like you're going to expand the parking lot south toward Saratoga, but not directly up to Saratoga. And I don't know, it's possible you're not even aware, but a couple of years ago when it was Garden Fresh, they purchased that strip of land. It was formerly a park. They purchased that strip of land with the intentions of utilizing it for future expansion. And I was just surprised that in your drawings, you're really not utilizing that space at all.
Through the chair, I don't believe that property has closed.
Oh, it has not closed? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was going to say, to my understanding, that's not actually our property.
Issue associated with it.
Ah, okay. We approved the sale, but the sale hasn't occurred.
Yes, that's true. And again, through the chair, I can provide some information to council separately outside of the meeting. On
I would
issue.
appreciate that. Yeah, I was not aware that it had not gone
Right.
through. I think all of us were under the impression that it
We
had.
did that some time ago, but good point.
Okay, scratch that.
No, that's fine, but yeah, I think that's sort of the main reason that we view the main egress and that coming off of Faro.
Sure.
Well, you talk about the number of employees. You are the largest employer in town, so growth there is a good problem to manage, and this seems like a fair solution. But all we're going to do tonight is set the public hearing. So we'll hear from the neighbors if they have other ideas. But
Of course.
I'm happy to support this. Other questions or comments? All right, Marty, would you call the roll, please?
I move
we have
that
a
City
motion.
Council approve the request to set a public hearing for the consideration of the vacation of the portion of East Troy Street right away between Bonner and Faro Streets.
Support.
So moved by Piana and supported by Pollock. Any last comments or questions? All right, Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Council members Leaks May,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Polika,
Yes.
Piana,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, folks.
See you back here for the public hearing. All right. Next item of business would be call to council. Chief Collins, anything else for the good of the community this evening?
Very briefly, Your Honor, just to let you know that in 2 days, the police department will be back with clean-shaven officers. We raised $1,550 with our brothers and sisters in Hazel Park for the No Shave November. I hated every minute of it, but it was for
Now
a
that
good
it's
cause.
grown in, it looks good. The first couple of weeks were dicey. But
And I'm tired of being called Santa.
Being called what?
Santa.
Oh, I was
But
about
it
to
was
say
a-
you need a red hat. Yeah.
It was a great cause. We had a lot of participation, and folks that if you still want to donate to the last minute, can go to no-shave.org, and you can make a donation if you would like. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Sullivan, anything from the fire department this evening? We'll do the chiefs first tonight.
Yes, Your Honor, I hate to steal the chief's thunder, but little kids are calling me Santa Claus. The holiday season is upon us, and a lot of people decorate for all kinds of events coming up. I'd like to speak green. LEDs are great for power usage, and they're also extremely safe as they've been not known to cause any fires, whether you have them on live Christmas trees or other types of plants or in the home. So go green, go LED, and decorate all you want. You can plug 1,000 of them in together. And then fires and scent burners and other things that come along with the holiday seasons are a good thing to keep an eye on because they are some of the culprits that cause house fires. So be careful of filling any kind of heaters that people use when the cold weather comes, as it is starting to come. Make sure kerosene goes in kerosene heaters and you don't put gasoline in any other kind of heater. Mark your cans properly. That's why they're color-coded if you use the right colors. But some people put the wrong fuels in the wrong colors and load the wrong type of heating device with the wrong fuel, and ba-boom. So those are things to be looking out for as the holiday season's upon us, so everyone has a safe, warm, and enjoyable holiday season.
And definitely, even if you lose power, don't use your oven as a heating source.
Do
correct?
not use your oven as a heating source, and if you need help or heat, call us and we'll help you get connected to somebody. There's a lot of service groups out there that help people out. And don't run generators inside the house. They must be outside, because that is the second biggest killer with carbon monoxide.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Jordan, anything else from Community Economic Development this evening?
Not this evening.
All right. Jenny, anything from HR this evening?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to give you a quick update as it relates to our Health and Wellness Center and our HRA event. We're very proud to say that we have blown our goal out of the water. As you can remember, back a few months ago, we had expressed an interest in obtaining about 50 HRAs, health risk assessments, at our health center by our employees and their families. We've now exceeded 100. And so all of those staff members have additionally been going, most of them I should say, going back for their follow-ups and learning about any additional health and wellness issues that they may have in receiving services through the center. So it has greatly impacted our utilization, and we anticipate further growth in that going forward. So thank you for your support.
Good to know. Thank you. Jill, anything from Recreation this evening?
Just one quick announcement. This Saturday is our annual holiday showplace at the Kulik Center, so if you're out doing some shopping, definitely stop by. The event is 9 to 3, and it is a $1 admission, so we encourage everyone to stop on by. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Joe, anything from the City Manager's office this evening?
I do. I am here to announce we will have our first public engagement meeting for the parking development site. The meeting is scheduled for December 13th, which is a Tuesday, beginning at 6 o'clock. It will be held at the Ferndale District Library, and it will last from 6 to 7:30, and this is a general public meeting.
Excellent.
You can also look for more updates on www.parkferndale.com on the project and anything else related to parking.
And do you also want to announce the other event happening at the Rust Belt Market? Or is that's public, right?
I do, actually. That is a public meeting. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Yes, the first semester of our agreement with the University of Michigan School of Information is coming to an end, and the students are going to be showing off their projects and their applications that they've built, working with our staff over this fall semester. So this event is held at the Rust Belt Market next Tuesday, December 6th, between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. It is open to the public. Come on into the Rust Belt and see the fantastic work that the students did and the cool applications that they developed for the community.
Excellent, thank you.
If I may, through the chair.
Yeah.
So this is this fall semester. In the spring or in January, will there be new students starting? Are there going to be new projects? What can we look forward to?
The hope for the university is that there will be 4 new projects for students teams to work on during the spring. The Ferndale community projects were so popular, they're drawing a lot of interest from the students. So as long as they have the students to populate the courses to offer that in the winter, which it looks like we're trending that way, then we're going to have new projects for the winter. If not, then we will still have guaranteed fall projects coming up.
Thank you.
Good question. So DPW is busy this time of year.
Yes.
Anything to share?
Yeah.
All right.
With leaf season starting to wind down, I just wanted to give you guys an update on how this season went and kind of where we're at.
Thank you.
As you're aware, this year was the new process of leaf collection where we're weekly. We do one half of the city weekly. I'm happy to say that, well, the first 2 weeks the leaves were a little light. Luckily, beginning early November, the weather was cooperating, the trees were cooperating, leaves started falling. We employed some additional equipment and manpower out on the streets, and we were able to hit some of the streets on each side of the city more than once per week. With that being said, this week we are on the west side of the city doing the leaf collection, and we'll be starting the sweeping of the streets on the east side. We're on schedule, and we're scheduled to be completed this Saturday. December 3rd will be the last day, which is typical, and that allows us time to turn the leaf collection equipment, get them prepped for ice and snow fighting. So,
Wait, so repeat that, because I thought there was west and then east. Is west done?
West is right now.
West
correct.
is right now.
West is right now.
This week? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
So last week was the east side. That was the last
week. This week is west, next week is east, and then we're done? Is that what you said? No, I've missed that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yep, we started on, let's see here.
Oh, it doesn't go by calendar week, is that it?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
He was saying that they end it each season with a sweeper.
Correct.
So they'll sweep this week on the east side, and they'll sweep on the west side next week. But the leaf pickup itself is now done at the end of this week for the west side.
So just to confirm, East Siders, east of Woodward, should not be putting out their leaves in the street going forward because the sweepers are going to be coming through. And if you put the leaves in the street, the sweepers are going to get clogged up.
That is correct. We recommend that you bag the leaves, and they will be picked up on your trash day. And per the SOCRA website, they're stating that December 19th, which is the third Friday in December, they'll be collecting the bagged yard waste. So all in all, with the extra equipment or the additional equipment that we've employed in this, basically getting everybody on staff out on the streets, we felt that it was a very successful leaf season, and luckily the weather cooperated. So all in all, I think things went really well.
Because the sweeper doesn't come all the time down the streets, I know a lot of people look forward to getting the streets swept. They like to have their cars moved off the street. So can you share with us where the sweeping is going to start? Is it going to start at the southern end and move north so that, like, come midweek you may be north of 9 Mile, or, because a lot of people don't want to leave, put their car out on Tuesday, or pull their car away from Tuesday and leave it the whole week, waiting for the sweeper to come by.
Correct. Unfortunately I don't have that information with me tonight, but I can definitely check into that and
Maybe we can post
get that
something on
information.
social media?
Exactly.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Good.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Nope.
All right. Thank you.
Sir? Kara, anything from communications and community engagement? Nothing this evening. How about from finance? She rarely has stuff, but she does this evening. Excellent.
This can't be good.
No, right?
I know, it's bad news.
You never want the finance director to come up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to let you know the winter tax bills will be hitting the mail stream in the next couple of days. You should be seeing them by December 1st. You can pay them online. There's instructions how to pay them on the back. You can come in and pay them. I would recommend, if residents haven't seen them in a week or so, to reach out to us and we'll send a duplicate to them. You have until February 14th to pay them without penalty.
Okay. Excellent. I don't know if that's good or bad news, but it's just news. All right.
Well, it's a smaller bill, so.
Yeah, that is right. That's the smaller of the two. All right, Marnie, anything from the city clerk's office this evening?
Just a heads up that we did receive notice today from the Oakland County Director of Elections that most likely there will be a statewide recount. The Board of Canvassers did meet today and certified the election results, and they have 48 hours now or 48 hours for the deadline to ask for a recount. So we are gearing up for a recount out at Oakland County. So may or may not be
ask
happening.
through the chair, what does that look like? So it all of the counting happens in Pontiac?
Well, they're looking at a statewide recount.
Right.
So they're not even sure at this point where it's going to be because the Oakland County Board of Canvassers area doesn't have the capacity to fit that many precincts worth of ballot materials. They've also reached out to us to ask to recruit some of our more quality inspectors. So I have a call out. 7 have volunteered already to do it, and there are several others that may be available depending upon the hours. But they're looking at getting this done between December 1st and 6th. So if it happens, it's all going to be happening fast, and it's kind of going to be see how it goes to go.
Thank you. Thanks. April, anything from the city manager?
Sure, just one quick announcement. It's a friendly reminder that due to the holidays in December, we only have one council meeting. It is December 19th. We will actually have a closed session at 6 o'clock to go to discuss union negotiations. At 6:30, we have a regularly scheduled meeting to go over audit, our favorite meeting of the whole year. And then at 7 o'clock, the normal regularly scheduled meeting will occur, and then we go back to our normal schedule in January with our first meeting being January 8th.
Great. Thank you. Dan, anything?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right. Councilman Martin.
I don't have anything this evening.
All right. Councilwoman Lakes May.
So I have just a little bit of a comment. So earlier this evening, we heard about some concerns regarding University High School. And I just wanted to kind of point out some things that are really, really great about the school. First of all, University has a 90% of its graduates enroll in post-secondary programs. 98% students gain access to colleges and universities, and 95 to 100% is a graduation rate every year. So it is my hope that we can come together with the schools, the city, and with the residents to see what we can do to continue this progress, because it would be a shame to see something that's so great and provides so many opportunities for our students kind of go to the wayside. So it's really important that I think, I'm interested to hear about the more traffic studies and things like that to see what we can do to keep this great school moving forward. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Polika.
Due to personal reasons, I will not be able to attend the December 19th City Council meeting, which is actually the last meeting of the year. So I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of you, my fellow council members, a wonderful holiday, as well as staff and all the residents of the city, and a most joyous and prosperous new year.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Piana.
Yeah, I wanted to call attention to our city manager, April Lynch, as a representative on the Michigan Municipal League Board of Trustees. I get the opportunity to get their magazines early, and she wrote an article for the most recent publication for the November-December issue, and it really is highlighting the city's approach to improving job satisfaction with our City Hall employees, and it's called Putting Success Back into Succession, and highlights the more you learn, the more you earn a program. So essentially the article says if you invest in your employees and you give them a career path, they stay, they're happier, thereby providing better customer service for your residents. And I think that's what we've been looking forward to, and all the hard work we've done as a council and a city staff to get to this point. And so I just wanted to say, go out and read it. You can go to mml.org, and I have copies here for City Council if you haven't had the opportunity to read it. It's very well written.
We'll make sure you get a copy.
Thank you. Congratulations. Excellent. All right. Yes. But you didn't make the cover.
I didn't. We're working on it. We are working on
I've
it.
been on it, you know.
You have, I know.
Anything else,
I know. That's why I stay.
I'm good, thank you.
All right. And I can't follow that with anything else, so I have nothing else. So the next item of business would be a motion to go into closed session.
I move to go into closed session to consider the dismissal, suspension, and disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against, or to consider periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent if the named person requests a closed hearing.
Support.
All right. Discussion.
Before anybody guesses which one.
All right, Marnie, would you call the roll?
Council members Martin?
Yes.
Polika?
Yes.
Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. The item is adopted, and council is now in closed session. So thank you all for coming. We'll ask you to exit the council chamber so that we can go into closed session. Thanks, everybody. And we will take a 5-minute recess.